In this instant case, okay, so once you make it to the group stage of the World Cup, the MA is entitled to 9 million less expenditure. Prior to that, each MA is given 1.5 million to prepare for the World Cup. The convention here is that we always engage government and agree on the application of the net inflows. When we came back from the World Cup, we made proposals to government on how we think the football money has to be reinvested back into football. At the end of the engagement, we received a letter from the Chief of Staff where we were asked to invest 2.8 million in legacy projects on our land in Pram Pram. So there's no dispute about accountability or lack of accountability. As an FA, after our discussions with government, our share of the inflow was 2.8 million, which will go into legacy projects. As we speak, the council is going through the motions. We've already made public announcements at the Football Congress about our intention to invest in a 40-bed accommodation facility on our land in Pram Pram. So there's no dispute about how much money is available to the FA through our participation at the World Cup. Thank you. Convention in Ghana is that at the end of every participation in the World Cup, the FA engages government and the net inflow is discussed and its application is also discussed. Yes. In this instant case, the net inflow to the FA as approved by the Chief of Staff is 2.8 million, yes, which is supposed to go into legacy projects on our land in Pram Pram. At the two last FA congresses, one in Kumasi and the most recent one in Pram Pram, I made public statements to this effect, that we're going to invest that money in the construction of a new 40-bed accommodation facility.
So
that's not a statement of fact.
I was just asking.
What is a fact is that given our convention, you cannot apply any part of the money until there's a clear agreement with government. And once there was a clear agreement and a follow-up letter from the Chief of Staff, then we had the permission to start planning on its application. Thank you.
Okay, 0.5 million, which has been disputed.
Okay, so...
But, Mr. Chairman, I wanted him to react to the 8.5 million budget in Ivory Coast.
No, okay, so wait. What's your problem? Just drawing from history. In 2006, when we first participated in the Mondial, that was the same arrangement. In 2010, same. In other jurisdictions, inflows from the World Cup are solely left to the MAs for football development. That's why I said that is the convention. In Ghana? Yes, very well.
Chairman, I'm asking the question about the convention because the Sports Act actually directs that money that accrue to associations must be accounted for by the minister. I thought that's what he was referring to. That's why I say it's law.
I think we are talking about specific matter.
Mr. Chairman, could we
So
go to...
let him.
AFCON. Okay. So what is the... Sorry, can you come again with the question? Sorry.
Well, the petitioners are asking that we account for these monies, and I wanted you to give us an overview of how that was used.
So the FA doesn't handle monies for AFCON. The government of Ghana do not pay monies to the FA accounts. The government of Ghana doesn't pay money directly to the member association called GFA. Every money connected to national team campaigns are paid directly to the Ministry of Youth and Sports, and usually we are accompanied by what we call a purse holder. So I have no question to answer on budgeting because I don't control budget.
Right, referees, if you allow me. Yes, the Referee Association showed up this morning, and by the way, how much do you pay referees for like officiating fees?
Okay, so I will answer that question, but I want to make a comment. I hope... Okay, it's okay.
Mr. Chairman, I mean, you are allowed to make comments. So.
No, I'll take that question.
Okay.
Yes. So we have a fee for Premier League referees, and then a fee for Division 1, Women's Premier League, Women's FA Cup, and then the Men's FA Cup. And then the Regional Football Association also have fees they pay to referees. In the Premier League, we pay 1,100, and then in the Division 1 and the women's are the same. We pay around 900 and something per match for one referee. So for a Premier League match where you have 4 referees and a match commissioner, that will be times 5. So roughly, you are talking about over 5,000 per match, 5,000 Ghana cedis per match. If you appoint a referee assessor, then you are talking about over 6,000 Ghana cedis per a football match for the Premier League.
Right. Are there delays sometimes in releasing those monies to these referees?
Per convention and across the world, from FIFA, CAF, and every MA, referees are to honor the matches before it is calculated over a period, and then they are paid. So we pay them per period. Yes, so we pay in arrears.
You pay in arrears?
Yes.
So it's not that if a referee has to go to Nalerigu to officiate a game between Karela and, say, Accra House of Folk, they are paid 1,000 cedis, and that 1,000 cedis, they are not guaranteed.
One is paid.
One, yeah, what is that?
One person, one referee.
Yeah, one person, yes. The referee is paid 1,000 cedis.
Yes.
1,100 or 1,000 cedis.
1,001.
1,100 cedis.
Yes.
Yes. And there's no guarantee that the referee will have that money before they travel to Nalerigu.
No, it's not done anywhere.
It's not done anywhere.
Yes, because a referee can be changed.
So the referee has to pre-finance,
yes,
and then get reimbursed.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I'm asking these questions because you know the perception about referees. And referees have been blamed for the declining of our game. I mean, they've been said to be part of the problem. And I was thinking, if you are paying referees 1,000 cedis to go to Nalirugu, I'm not sure how much the transportation from Accra to Nalirugu is, but I'm sure by the time they come back, the money would have been exhausted. And they have to pre-finance. Plus, they have to find their own accommodation. Mr. President, I think this is a big problem. Don't you agree?
No, if I may explain. And like I said initially, the system we run is not a system we run in only Ghana. It's the same for FIFA, CAF, WAFO, Ghana, and all the other MAs. Referees are paid after. We have done an intervention where when they take STC, we have an arrangement with STC where the bus fares, they pay 50%. So we have policies that ensure that performance is not hindered in any way. The thing is that a referee who is not good because he's being paid 1,100. So please, let's not link payment. Otherwise, no referee from CAF, FIFA, then no referee will be good. Because all referees go, they are not paid before they do the matches.
Let me.
Mr. Chairman, it's not necessarily about the figure, or it's not necessarily about the delay or the fact that they have to pre-finance. It's about paying a referee 1,000 cedis per game. Don't you think that's a recipe for corruption? And that's why referees, time and time again, come under the radar of being unfair and biased officiating.
Yes, that's why I've said that we cannot equate the payment made to referees to performance. We are paying 6,000, a minimum 6,600 for one match. If you multiply it by the number of matches we play in the Premier League, and you look at the quantum.
So, Mr. President, the issue here is this. That quantum per person may not suffice. Maybe that might contribute to some challenges we currently have in terms of officiation. So, and I love your angle where you introduced some discussions you've had with STC to come in to support. Good move. Have you approached government with this for support, also to better the environment, the ecosystem, so far as have you ever done this? Because it might not be, you might not have all it takes to take care of everything they need, maybe. So have you approached?
So, Mr. Chairman, presentation by taking us back to where we had come from. We had come from a period where the game had been stopped. We had come from a time that via the ANAS expose, we had lost 78 referees. At the time, each referee was taking home 660 Ghana cedis. We have taken it to 1,100 Ghana cedis. We had also entered into a relationship with STC where match officials paid 50% of their transport costs. In fact, we had even offered to pay referees on weekly basis, which they objected to. This is a matter of a fact also. We had also introduced other incentives, including the provision of uniforms to referees. We had also introduced communication gadgets in the system. I think currently we have close to 60 communication gadgets that helps referees do their work. we continue or we introduce what we call the Catch Them Young refereeing policy, introducing the sport to young boys and girls from the age of 12. Young boys and girls with the right levels of passion naturally going into officiating. As we speak, the first batch have been promoted to the top flight. We are contributing towards the payment of officiating fees also at the regional level. The RFA chairmen are here. We provide them also with whistles and other accessories, all in our attempt to improve officiating in general. There is a bigger discussion to be had. The bigger discussion is funding of sports in our country. Mr. Chairman, it's important for us to properly situate where we want to see our sports or our football in our country, and how much are we committed towards providing the needed funding for football or for sports.
Mr. President, we agree entirely with you. I mean, it's been something we've been discussing, and there's been that call for a dedicated sports fund to support all of this. Here, let the discussions be one which would also bring out the problems that you are having, the challenges you are having, so that at the end of the day, when we put our documents together, it would be well captured that, yes, the FA is doing its best under the circumstance, but there will be the need for some support to come from somewhere. And probably that might feed into the speedy putting together a fund to do this. But then if it appears that you are handling it and therefore there's no problem, as probably you want to put it, then we will not be helping ourselves going into the future. And so the issue is this: you are helping to fund, equip, and get these our brothers and sisters who are referees, including the Catch Them Young. All of that, we are aware. We've had some interactions with you and all that. In fact, there were the referees who came here today, even spoke to it. But the issue is this: currently, are they being paid the amount my colleague asked, which we think is just not the best under the circumstances. So once it is so, you are doing your best. You are doing whatever you are capable of doing. And so we'll take it as such and proceed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. There's one thing I want to add, that when it comes to costs of match officials, it's not only limited to referees. What we've just spoken about is referees. You have match commissioners, you have referee assessors, sometimes you have general coordinators, you have venue media officers, and then you have the cameraman. These are all cost lines attributed to one game. We have not spoken about training of referees, which is another cost line. So taking care of refereeing or match officials in general comes at a very high cost.
That is fantastic. You've just nailed the issue is we want to understand the enormity of the problem and see. Honorable Salam, please.
Thank you very much. Mr. President, thank you for the clarification. We all understand how difficult and challenging it is to run our games, especially when you don't have sponsorship or adequate sponsorship, even if you have it. So we appreciate that. But I don't think that anybody can rationalize paying 1,000 cedis to a referee to go to referee a game in any part of this country, even in Accra. Mr. President, don't you think that that's why referees have to look for other means of supporting themselves?
already tried to answer that.
Clearly, Mr. President, we've already had some interaction, even though there wasn't a direct admission that could attribute to the bad performance in this case, because we want to better the game. We want to get all your lovers of the game to the field. We don't want anybody to be sitting in a room somewhere to predict the outcome of a game. And the understanding out there is that some referees go to the field with the score lines in their pockets. You know, I mean, I'm being very frank with you. And so these are some of the, and so clearly, I mean, maybe the ideal situation is where you are telling us that, yes, you go, you have to be professional and do your work properly. However, the person has only 1,000 cedis in his pocket. Probably the immediate challenges he's confronted with is so much that even the concentration, so he will have to look elsewhere. Is that not possible?
Mr. Chairman, Honorable Chairman, all our referees are not on full-time schedules. They are fully employed elsewhere. A lot of them are teachers, some are doctors, some are lecturers, some are bankers. They have their full-time jobs already, including those who work in the security services. What they do as refereeing is not their full-time work. Obviously, if I had a $10 million and I can pay, I will pay to a referee. But what we are offering is not far from being competitive and an enhanced working condition environment than it used to be. All of them.
In that. Is that all of them?
All of them, all of them.
Okay, so, Honorable.
Yes. I think the petitioners again raised the issues with the management committee members and that concept. Like, do you still think it's relevant having management committee members attached to all our national teams? They raised it in the petition.
Management committee members?
Yes.
Okay.
No, I mean, yes.
So
I understand
currently we have 20 national teams, 20 national teams, and each of the 20 national teams have specific needs and attention. So it's always important for us to find the right people with the right skill set, with the right levels of passion, who will help us to manage the national teams. If you've been part of the FA setup, you will fully appreciate what it means to manage a national team. So management committees are as relevant yesterday as they are today.
And must they necessarily be up to 7? Because that's the thrust of the issue they raised in there.
So composition of national teams is, I mean, in terms of numbers, it's not cast in stone. We have some national teams that have 3 management members. We have some national teams that have 5. I think currently even the Black Stars have 5 cutoff point. And each of the 5 has a role to play or have a role to play. Again, coming back to your direct question, management committees are relevant to the management of our national teams.
Yes, I think that they raise the issues of numbers in relation to judicious use of your own resources. Resources you could probably be using for other things. Like, for instance, I think the last World Cup, all management team members of the Blasters were paid $100,000 each. That's close to $1 million right there. Why do you have to pay management members $100,000 after all the per diems and all the monies they've received?
Chairman.
the issue is,
Allow me to come in. I know, I understand, but I assume that it was public knowledge that it was it from the presidency or winning bonuses or something? Is it the GFA that paid that money? Please, are you the one that paid that 100,000?
No. So I think that for me, my position is simple. Nobody can dispute the role of a management committee in the management of our football. For the World Cup, it takes 4 years of hard work and management and sleepless nights and traveling on aircrafts or in aircrafts to secure qualification. Unfortunately, it doesn't take 2 days. For the other junior national teams, it takes 2 years to ensure qualification. Every day within a year, work is being done. This has to be made very clear, that management committees do not exist on paper. They work. And everybody who's had a chance of being part of any of our national teams will speak to this. Thank you. So that
Did the GFA pay that money?
No, the GFA doesn't pay.
But it's from the World Cup money, right?
It's from the government.
And you instruct the government to make those payments.
I think that's quite unfair.
No, the management...
I do not instruct government.
yeah. No, I think, hello. Let me say this.
Mr. Chairman, I think that I'll just make reference to.
Now, again, I want to reiterate, if Mr. President feels giving some answer here, I want to say this, because whatever you say later on, we will definitely put in our report anyway. You can always talk to us in camera.
No, Mr. Chairman, I'm okay. To be honest, I'm okay. Randy just wanted to pass a few comments.
I think that we ought to deal with this issue of management committees once and for all. And I think that perhaps this platform might be an appropriate platform to deal with it. First of all, management committee members are not paid a salary or an allowance. So you could be on a management committee for 1 year, for 2 years, for 3 years, for 4 years. The GFA does not pay anything to management committee members as monthly allowance or sitting allowance, even when they attend meetings. It's not done. I've been a management committee chairman for God knows how many years. I have never been paid a monthly allowance by the FA by virtue of being a management committee member or a sitting allowance. It is when you travel with a team, everybody on the team is paid a per diem, and you are also entitled to the per diem just like anybody else on the team. And then this issue of management bonuses and all that, I think that a lot of fetish has been created about it, and we need to deal with it. Look, why do we pay a bonus? We pay a bonus for recognition of success. So success has been achieved, and we think that it ought to be rewarded. And so we identify those who are responsible as far as the success is concerned, and then we reward them. Is that not the case? Now, I always ask, in this country, when the Black Stars fail, they fail to perform. What's the first name that is mentioned? It's the GFA president. Even before people go to speak about the coach and even want to speak about players. I mean, there are people who don't even know who the Mazer or the physio or the assistant coach of the national team is. People hold people responsible when there's failure. Why must these people not be recognized when there's success? If you think that it is okay to hold people responsible when there's failure, why must you not see it as okay to reward those people when there's success? Today, who has been invited by Parliament here? Who? Who are those who are before Parliament today? Why have these people been invited before Parliament today? It is because Parliament believes that these are the people who ought to be held responsible. It's because petitioners and some leaders in Parliament believe that the people who run this association ought to be held responsible for the result in the association. So if you think that people hold their responsibility or must be held responsible for what happens, why is it that when there is success and you decide that you want to reward the team for success, you think that a particular group must be denied that? It is okay to hold them responsible when there's failure, but when there is success, they must be exempted.
Nobody said that. Mr. Chairman,
The situation is whether we say ability to, is the country's ability to. That is all I think we should also be very amazed to. So whether that is really the issue, we need to recognize. We need to recognize and reward hard work.
Yeah,
for that, I
definitely,
think
Mr.
I agree entirely with that.
Yes,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I never said that people should not be recognized for being successful or anything. I didn't say that.
So
I was just asking that, is that a judicious use of our money? You think that after a World Cup, and let's talk about success here. In that World Cup, Mr. Chairman, we were last in our group. And we came back. I don't know if just qualifying to the World Cup, is what constitutes the success in this. But in the World Cup, our performance was abysmal. So you come back and people get paid $100,000. It will definitely raise an eyebrow. And I think that was the reason this has become an issue is because of the performance at the World Cup. I remember in 2013, I think in the AFCON, when we came back, statements were made on this floor. But because of the successes of the team in that tournament, I think we were in the finals or so, nobody was allowed to even talk about money. So when you talk about success, Mr. Randy, I don't know how you are defining success in this context, but I don't think
very well.
we were successful in that tournament.
Let me give the opportunity to the ranking. She wants to say something.
I'm a bit confused because if we are saying that nobody is talking about the successes, we are talking about the management committee. We having an issue of them making payments to the people who went out to perform. You see, I don't think that even the team having the opportunity to go beyond the local league into international league is not something that you consider as non-achievement. It started from somewhere. So are we not even counting a qualifying match or qualifying to the World Cup as a success? Is it not a success? Chairman, President,
Of course.
did you start from nothing?
I told the Honorable that he was here in Ghana. In 2018, he stayed in Ghana. He couldn't have the opportunity to go and watch the World Cup anyway because Ghana didn't make it to the Mundial. 4 years down the line, 2022, we made it as one of the best 32 nations in the world. And we say we've not achieved anything. Of course, I would want to go to the World Cup, to go all the way to the grand finale. But you cannot take the credit away from Ghana having failed in 2018 and having made it back to the world stage in 2022. How many African countries were at the World Cup? Only 5, and Ghana was 1. Yes, we went there to win games,
and possibly to bring the trophy. But that didn't happen. But we were at the World Cup. That took Ghana back to the world stage of recognition. I don't even want to talk about resources and how we made it and how difficult it was. But we were part of the 5 representing Africa at the Mundial, and one of the best 32 in the world.
Yeah, Mr. President, I think we're not going to debate this because obviously qualifying even to go and play is an achievement. But then the issue is, I mean, to what extent do you pat your back and say, yes, you have done that? I think that is the issue. The extent, that is the issue. So let's make some progress. Let's make some progress. Yes, it is I think it's the quantum being the issue here. So let's make some progress.
Or the management team or the management committee, we don't have to belabor the fact that they started the team from scratch and built it up to the point where we are counting successes. Are they not the same group of people that are also ensuring that our teams are performing? I don't know why we are separating challenges on the local level or saying that, okay, we've paid this kind of bonuses. Why are we spending X amount of money? Is it not the same team that is managing everything throughout to determine what should be given to the teams for them to perform? I'm confused. I need your clarification.
I think it's okay.
It is.
Randy, please make your
so
submission.
I don't lose track of the intervention I was making. The FA president has made it clear that we have about 20 national teams. Now, if you look at this petition, it speaks about national team management committees, not just Black Stars management committee. I have absolutely no issues if somebody thinks that the quantum is too much. We ought to look at it. You can deal with it, and I will consider it an outlier. Because over the same period that this FA has been in office, why are we not speaking about the other national teams? I was chairman of the National Under-20 that won the WAFU and went to AFCON. I was at AFCON where we won the tournament without a purse holder. There was nobody from the ministry with us, the purse holder. Even when our player collapsed on the field and the player was sent to the hospital, I had to use my card to pay for the medical expenses of the player. My passport was seized because we were moving from one city to the other to play the qualifying game. And we had not paid for the hotel. And my passport was seized. Until the ministry sent people to come pay the hotel owner before my passport was released to me. Before I was reimbursed the monies that I had spent on the team. Even that money was borrowed again from me before the final game. So, you see, it is easier for you to just look at what happened with respect to Qatar, Black Stars, and that as an outlier, and use that to speak about national team management committees and all that. I'm just looking at the principle. Are you paying a qualification bonus? If you are paying, what will be the basis to say that a team has a playing body, has a technical team, has a management, but when it comes to rewarding, we will give players and we will give technical team, but we will not give the management. And here I'm not talking about quantum. I'm not saying that pay them the same as players or whatever. But I'm just saying that if you're going to hold people responsible when there is failure, when you want to recognize, it is only proper that they are recognized. And I don't think that it will be asking for too much. And so I think that we need to get that principle.
Randy, I think you've made your point. And let me...
To determine how it's allocated, or
no.
the ministry directly...
Ministry of Youth and Sports.
Ministry handles it directly?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I wanted clarification. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. President, about the management committee, whether it is relevant. The concern is not about whether the committee, the management committee are relevant or not. The concern was the size of the management committee. And suggestions were even made that why don't we collapse the management committees and form a board that will oversee the affairs of these national teams. So that was the suggestion. So, President, maybe
so
didn't
thank
get
you
it
very
clear.
much, Honorable. We all have varied reasons for taking management decisions. And I have said here that the size, first of all, I've said here that having management committees in managing our national teams is as relevant yesterday as it is today. I have said this here. Secondly, I have also said that the numbers are not cast in stone, and that we even have certain management committees that have 3 members. The Black Stars is a premium brand of our country. The Black Queens, the premium brand when it comes to women's football. The demands of managing the Black Stars are distinctively distinct from managing the National U15 or National U17. The demands of the technical team at the Black Stars level, at the Black Queens level, are distinct. So it is very clear. Management is very dynamic. Of course, you'll be thinking about judicial usage of resources, but management at the junior level don't take money from the FA. At the Black Stars level, I don't take per diem. I don't take per diem. None of the management members take per diem. So I don't see the hue and cry. People are just misfed with the wrong information. What is true is that you need manpower, you need the right people with the right skill set to manage our national teams. And they are supported by the National Teams Department. Thank you.
Okay. My question is on player selection or player call-up to the senior national team, Black Stars. I would want to know the criteria that the FA takes in selecting players to play for the national team, Black Stars, to be specific.
So, first of all, the FA doesn't select players for the Black Stars.
Let me reframe my question. The technical team, please.
The FA, I'm starting on the premise that the FA does not select players for the Black Stars. And if I hire the coach who expects me to select players for him, I'll fire the coach. I'm repeating myself. If I hire the coach for Ghana, and that coach expects me, Kurt, to select players for him, that coach will be fired the next day. Because that is not the kind of coach I and we want to work with. Players of the Black Stars are selected by the technical team of the Black Stars, led by the current coach, Otto Addo. Simple.
Okay. My question is, should we believe that the coaches that we hire in Ghana are given freedom, or probably, let me use the word, they are independent in selection or doing their work? You don't.
First of all, I think I've already answered that question, but I'll repeat it. Coaches Otto Addo and his 2 assistants are men over the age of 18. They've made public statements, not once, not twice, on the environment this FA has created to enable them to work. Coach Addo has said on platforms that one of the key reasons why he accepted to come back is the fact that he's allowed to do the work the way he wants to work.
So the answer is very simple. Coaches representing Ghana are solely selected by the technical team of our national teams. I'm talking about players representing Ghana, whether it's the Black Queens or it's the Black Stars.
Is reported to have said that the coaches are not going to be allowed to do the selection of the national team players alone. So with his response that the coaches are given the mandate to do the selection, and it's also been reported. I read on City and then also on My Joy some time back. So I just wanted to clarify this, linking it to the response he has just given.
I think that statement was just been very, very clear here. My job is to hire a coach. His job is to scout and put up the best team for Ghana. That's the only basis I can have the moral fortitude to fire him when he doesn't get the results. So they do the selection, and they have to produce results on the pitch. Finished.
So you didn't see that?
I think I said I was taken out of context.
Very well. You.
Yeah, but you realize that I'm talking about the coaching issue. Consistently, between 2008 and 2015, we were making semifinals, at least semifinals, in our appearances at the AFCONs. But between 2019, you mentioned about what happened in Egypt. 2021, 2023, we had coaches that we appointed. They never reached even the quarterfinals. They never came out of the first round. Are you satisfied with the caliber of coaches that we have appointed since you assumed office?
So first of all, football has periods. There are periods that there is stability. There are periods that you go on a winning streak. You win loads of games, you win tournaments. There are times the opposite is true. Currently, we are very satisfied with the technical team we have, and we're giving them all the support, and we believe with time they will take us to the promised land.
Now,
Yeah,
are you, maybe mine will be on the former coach after Côte d'Ivoire. Did he leave any report before leaving?
He sent a technical report.
So can we have a copy?
Yes, we'll provide same after this.
There is this already saying, I'm just happy to hear. I don't know whether, I don't know, but then listening to a lot of people, even though for consistency and believing and building and progressing gradually in somebody, there's that description of Otuado now, that he doesn't have track record, and we have hired his services. He's the rookie manager, and so on and so forth. I mean, what can you say about it?
Mr. Chairman, it's unfortunate I have to speak about this and about our own coach. Otto qualified Ghana to the World Cup in 2022. I think that is enough. I think that is enough. Otto qualified Ghana, Mr. Chairman, to the highest level of football in the world, ahead of Nigeria. That is enough.
So are you sure he will break the trophy drought that we currently have?
We need the support of Ghanaians. We need the support of everybody. And we need time. Because to build a winning team needs time, needs patience,
needs the right levels of resources. But we believe
Will you provide us with your need assessments?
it's not far away.
That must find expression in our report. That's why I'm asking that.
Yes, please. Okay, so a few weeks ago, the Black Stars defeated Mali in Mali. Mali were in the semifinals of the AFCON. Ghana didn't go beyond the group stage. A few weeks ago, we were in Kumasi celebrating a victory over Central African Republic. A few weeks ago, we drew against Niger and lost against Angola. I'm just going step by step to say that I found it very uncomfortable when people speak about abysmal or use the word abysmal performance of the Black Stars. It is work in progress, given where we have come from. Having said that, what was the question? I do not think that as an FA, we have a policy against local inclusion of players into any of our national teams, including the Black Stars. Our head coach is not anti-local players playing into or playing for the Black Stars. What is true is that the Black Stars belongs to the creme de la creme. It belongs to only the best available players in the world. So wherever our coach will find the most suitable player, we need to allow and to assist the coach to bring the player. Our Premier League has just started. We are in week 4. The coach has already been to certain venues looking at talents and players who have the right levels of quality to represent our country. Indeed, at the last AFCON in Ivory Coast, there were players from our local league in the Black Stars. So it is not a statement of fact. At the World Cup in Qatar, there were players from our local league in the Black Stars. At the end, you want to ask yourself one simple question. What do we want as a country? Do we want our Black Stars to be represented by the best players available? In our opinion, the answer is yes. If 11 best players from our local league will win us that target of envy, I'm sure the coach will pick them. Just to recap, players from the local league who have featured for the Black Stars before. And I'll start from Fatau Ishahaku. From Division 1. Division 1, Stephas. Nobody's making noise about it. This is historic. A player in Division 1 played for the Black Stars and has played ever since for the Black Stars. Dalad Ibrahim, Barnier, Glass Nawako, Frederick Asare is currently with the Black Stars. So to answer the question politely and in a very short form, the Black Stars platform is for the very best of talents. The coach is committed to scouting the very best talents locally. If they are good enough, if they can compete for the spaces in the team, they will have the chance to play. I would encourage the local players to have that vision of playing, of competing at the highest level of football. We want to win.
the coach wants to win. Everybody wants to win. So why would we drop players who have the quality to help us to win? We will not.
Thank you, Chairman. My next follow-up question on that. You mentioned...
Mr. Chairman, our scouting system at the highest level of football is very robust. Very, very robust. Almost impossible for any super talent to escape the web because of the usage and application of modern technology. We should not forget that at the end, the coaches will have to make up a team. A team. And here I'm saying a team. You may have 9 strikers, all scoring, but you may have to pick 3 because maybe they complement each other. So at the end, it is the responsibility of the scouting team and the technical team to make those calls.
Yes. Did we get?
FIFA. So FIFA hasn't got a borehole project.
How much do you get for our borehole project from FIFA?
So I'll go step by step. FIFA hasn't got anything called borehole project. What we have is what we call forward funding. And each MA, which each member association, will have to make proposals to FIFA in applying for funds for specific projects. We, as an MA, decided to introduce what we call the borehole project to FIFA. The idea was for us to construct boreholes at our RFA game centers, some of our Division 1 league centers, and some of our Premier League centers to produce more water so that they can treat their pitches. The initial valuation was $280,000, which is public. The actual expenditure was just in excess of $260,000 US. And that includes boreholes and its accompanying accessories. I hope that is very clear.
Yes, I have a follow-up.
So, first of all, let me just state here that we account to FIFA. We've gone through the FIFA Central Review, which I've already stated here. That includes submission of reports on any FIFA strictly funded project. Secondly, we did not use that funds to construct pitches. The money is for construction of boreholes and its accessories for our regional game centers and for pitches used by our league clubs, not our national stadia. There was only one special situation where we decided to invest in a borehole at the Tamale Sports Stadium because at that time we had 7 of our clubs using the Tamale Sports Stadium, and the grass was suffering. Okay. Okay, so I'll try to answer your question. In the years that you describe as the golden years, the youth coaches were not paid salaries. The summer days of blessed memory, the Jones Atukwefi of blessed memory, who won trophies for us, Selas Tete and co, were not paid salaries. They were not on contracts. They were paid their per diems and tournament-related bonuses. But they won trophies. They did well. In most recent years, there's been a lot of cry for coaches to be placed on permanent contracts.
we have a blend of coaches who are on permanent contracts and coaches who are on performance or tournament-related contracts. That is the system we run.
Will you consider?
If the resources are available, why not? In recent times, the FA has, over the past 3 years, placed the national U20 coach on the contract, because obviously we brought him from Belgium, and he's paid by the FA. The Black Queens head coach, we brought her from Switzerland. She's fully paid by the FA. Lai Kingston was paid by the FA. We have made proposals to government just to ensure that every national team coach is paid a monthly retainer, so to say. That is the best way. The Referees Association said our game was on the decline.
Please let me finish, please.
No, it's very interesting.
Yes. So I'm just praising that you've gladdened our hearts. Until then, we were all just discouraged, and with the belief that our football has declined. I know that you don't control coaches, but I would like your take on this. I checked and I realized that Ghana has won the CAF championship 4 times, and that's what we pride ourselves in. In 1963, 1965, and 1982, the coach was a Ghanaian, and C.K. Jemfi. Then we won it again the 4th time in 1978.
Honorable,
So, yes.
if your analogy is to hold sway, then I will say that you are close to winning your next cup. Because Otto Addo is a full-blooded Ghanaian. Nana Otto Addo, full-blooded Ghanaian. And he is in charge of our Blasters. So if your analogy or your calculations will work, then I'm sure Atom.
Well, I'm happy you have said that. But I just want you also to see what I see. That if you also believe in that. Because otherwise, maybe he goes once, he doesn't.
So as an FA, it's very important for us to invest in our own. It is very, very important for us to invest in coach education. Until 2018, all coach licensing had been stopped in Ghana. I keep referring this house back to where we have come from, just for all of us to understand the enormity or how low Ghana had gone. So working closely with the newly established Technical Directorate, Professor Minta is here, he's the Technical Director of the FA. We, working with CAF, have revived all our licenses. We are offering free coach education to women because there's a shortfall in the numbers. We are offering 900 spaces to coaches who work with our course clubs to gain license D, which is very fundamental. This has never happened in the history of our country. We developed the DNA with the Technical Directorate and working with the DNA, introducing all the coach licenses. So coaches are now being tutored for free. That is the foundation of football, where players are taught how to break and pass. They now have the right skill set to be able to teach our kids. We are running license C, license B. We've just made the application to CAF for approval of the license A. Beyond this, we have taken the opportunity and we have invested in taking coaches beyond the shores of Ghana on attachments. We took 2 coaches to Hoffenheim, 2 female coaches, Anita and, no, it was Babanuhu and Bazigi. They went to Germany for 4 weeks. And then we took another set of 5 to Holland with Ajax Amsterdam and Feyenoord. We are now preparing for the next group to also go on further attachment. So, yes, we fully appreciate the challenges we have, but we are very committed towards fixing the fundamentals. Fundamentals here means bringing all our coach education back, offering opportunities to our women who want to coach but who do not have the resources, offering opportunities to our coaches at the coach level who do not have the means to attend any coach training at all, and then making sure that in the much higher level coach courses are available to our Ghanaian people. That is the best way.
Very well.
Fair to the House, we have 20 national teams. Only one is led by an expert.
Who?
Only one is led by an expert, Nora Hoptel, Black Queens. All the 19 national teams are led by Ghanaians. Not only the head coaches, the 2 assistant coaches for each national team are Ghanaians.
Chairman, my last question. You made it clear that you don't do the selection, but I want you to share your view on this. That before the last qualification to Qatar, qualifying was a bit difficult, especially our last match with Nigeria. I think they came here and I've forgotten the scores. They beat us 1-0, 0-0, and we had to draw there to qualify. And we did very well.
On a scheduled meeting with the captain of the team, Partey and Kudus.
Very well, because we actually wanted you to bring them. They themselves, the head of the technical team and all that, so that at least they can get the first-hand questions and give us, in their opinion, some of these direct questions. But on this occasion, you are going to give us what you think went on. Well, so we will take that.
I try not to veer into such areas.
Yeah. So then,
because the process of qualification is a journey. Some players start, some may get injured, some may be in top form, some may not be in top form. At every given time, the coach has a chance to select the very best. There are a few who may be part of the squad and the team will gain qualification, and there may be some who may not be playing at that time, but who may be in top form and who may come into the squad. It is very normal.
I agree with you. So it goes with explanation, whichever be the case. At least, yes, we went with this team, right? But then this is what happened. Some were injured or whatever, specifically, this. So we went with these people who at the time were the best on the block. So we went with them. So unless of course maybe the director of the technical director, Professor Minta, may be able to, because I understand Professor Minta should be able to know to an extent the thinking of the coach, if I may, because their works at a point must coincide.
Let me just.
So they should be able to tell a story here. Maybe you.
No, I just want to pass a small comment that he is our technical director. He has a technical directorate, but there are lines between what he does and what the head coach of the A national team does.
I agree entirely with you that.
So he's not the technical director for the Black Stars.
Mr. President, I agree with you that he's entirely in another realm, if I may say so. And the head coach for the A team is also operating at another angle. But definitely at a point when there is a national assignment, such as heading to Qatar is concerned, I foresee the two of them having some convergence in terms of some, unless of course you want to tell me that Coach Otoado doesn't approach Prof for his take on few things. He is the technical director. I mean, he is not supposed to take his suggestions hook, line, and sinker, but he is the technical director. So at a point, he should be seen taking some advice from him.
So the clarity, Honorable, I wanted to make is that the technical director of the FA has a role up to U23 level, youth, and policy making. That is the job of the technical director of the FA. His role doesn't go up to the A national team level. Of course, if they do have private engagements, they can talk. But he hasn't got an overriding power over the head coach.
Definitely, I can never say he has an overriding power. The issue is that at a point, they will be sharing some notes. So if he is close with...
If he has comments to make.
If he has some this thing to say, so that he can answer. I just want an answer to my colleague's question, so that Mr. President doesn't just tell us what he thinks on this occasion.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I think for me to rise to become the technical director, I have to go through the coaching hierarchy, and I have. So the two of us, we communicate, and we share ideas. So as and when necessary, we meet and then we talk.
You were not here when the question was asked.
Okay.
I mean, he was trying to...
During that time, he was not the technical director of the FA. He was not.
Make progress.
Yes. But in the instant case, I think there was only one player who didn't make it to the World Cup because of selection. That was Afinajan. All the other players were injured. The goalkeepers, Andy Yadom, Jojo Wellacott, Richard Ofori were all injured. That was it. Yes, they were injured.
So are you done with the question?
I was first elected on October 25 and re-elected last year on the 5th of October. I have never cited any document whatsoever on Coach Bukari Caesar. So I will start by taking the house back to where I started. We took over a collapsed football system, totally collapsed. And I hope all of us in this house will not be in dispute. We had to start the journey of rebuilding.
Mr. President, Honorable, it looks like this is about the fourth time this same question has been asked. And he's answering the same question over and over. So please, let's be mindful.
Then I have other questions.
Let's be mindful. Those questions that...
I have been in office for less than 8 years. I think that I've been in office just close to 5 years, 2.5 years of COVID. Our books are public. Our books are public. Been audited by CAF 5 years continuous. Been audited by FIFA 5 years continuous. Our auditors are under and under. Bicatelli under and under. We are the most transparent sporting entity you can think about in Ghana. We've worked closely with the Ministry of Youth and Sports on all fronts as far as national team engagements are concerned. Thank you. For the records, the government of Ghana doesn't give GFA any money. The government, through the Ministry of Youth and Sports, funds national team-related activities through the Ministry of Youth and Sports. Absolutely no money comes into the coffers of the GFA from government. Monies that are used in the management of national teams are paid to the Ministry of Youth and Sports. The ministry do send what they call account or purse holders, and they make all statutory payments. No cedi comes to the FA. Thank you. Let me start by saying that as a leadership of the FA, we want to be either the best or always with the best. As leadership of the FA, we want to win every trophy. That is the vision of the leadership of the FA. What that means is that we wish to be in a much better situation than we are today. This is a statement of fact. But it's also true that we have revived coast football in Ghana after a hiatus period of 6 years. It's also true that we've brought the Black Queens back to where they belong at the AFCON. It is also true that the Black Princesses appeared for the 7th consecutive time at the Mondial. It is also true that our Women's Premier League is sponsored by Malta Guinness. It is also true that for 5 consecutive seasons, we've run our leagues uninterrupted. What is also true is that our Black Princesses won the All-African Games and won the Waffle Tournament. What is also true is that the Black Satellites won the All-African Games and became African champion in 2021. What is also true is that our Pram Pram and your Pram Pram is now a home, our technical center. This is also true. What is also true is that the GFA, for the first time, have constructed a FIFA standard AstroTurf in the Upper East, the very first one. This is also true. GFA. What is also true is that all our 10 regional offices are running all their leagues. What is also true is that through the support of KGL, we have the National KGL Championship, and we have set up the first ever GFA FIFA Academy in the Upper East with Big Ball Secondary School. This is also true. What is also true is that this year, we are setting up the next academy in the Ashanti region and in Greater Accra.
So
this is also true. Mr. Chairman,
I'm sure you give us a dose of it in the beginning.
No, it's very easy for, Mr. Chairman, sorry, with your permission. It's very easy for people who are not so close to the sport to say things which are not wholly true. That's why in the beginning, I said I very much appreciate this platform.
The platform, okay.
Because if you know where we took Ghana football from, the levels of investment we have made, Pram is a case study. It's not a finished article yet.
Very well.
Our women, our girls are now playing football and their games are live on TV. We take it for granted. Our Division 1 League is now live on TV. We take it for granted. This is hard work by these people here.
Yeah. So, Mr. President,
Can it get better? The answer is yes.
Very well.
Mr. Chairman.
And that is why we are here. We want to move forward. So, Richard, is there any question?
Thank you, Chairman, and I really appreciate today, most of us have gotten to know much of the things that you are doing. Because at the face of it, people are looking at the love that football brings, the unity that it connects amongst the populace. And because a lot of attention has been shifted to, a lot of discussion now is on the EPL and then the Spanish League. So even though you are doing all those things, people may not see it or may not even realize it. I understand. Definitely there are people who also know it but would also want not to promote it, as you say. I would kindly suggest that you can do beyond this committee from now so that people get to know what is happening on the ground. Because we all know, you have been a football person for quite long. I beg you, for quite long. And in the past when we didn't have this Champions League, everybody's attention was on our league, whether you like it or not. You watch Okraku United or the Busuan Dwarfs or whatever, but now there are other. So I just want you to also help to promote what you are doing. Very well. That people get to know the things they're doing. But that is, but my final question, but this is,
so, thank you very much. Standards are falling is relative, to be honest with you. But again, it can be better. In so many jurisdictions, football clubs are supported directly via grants. Now, you talk about Ethiopia, you talk about Egypt, you talk about Tanzania, you are talking about Morocco, you are talking about Ivory Coast. This Benin, Nigeria, these are countries where football clubs are supported by central government directly. Grants. These are facts. Number two, it's important for us to make clear the provisions we have for the private sector who support sports or football by way of tax rebates. Because from where we sit, there's a lot of work to be done to encourage companies to freely come into the football space. Three, we have said on numerous occasions, including the last Congress, that we provide entertainment to our people. Our clubs pay 17.5 VAT. Other entertainers are paying 3% flat rate. From where I sit, I have to pay taxes to clear goods to be used by our black stars, our black queens. I pay taxes to clear, custom taxes to clear our black stars jerseys. From where I sit, I have to pay the AstroTurf that we use in Upper East, over 300,000 euros in duties. From where I sit, there's a big space for companies who are involved in the alcoholic industry to invest in football. Typical example is Guinness Ghana. We've had numerous meetings with Guinness Ghana. FDA says no, they can't come into football. Meanwhile, the biggest football product in the world is the European Champions League, and it's been heavily consumed by the youth of our country. Heineken sponsors the Champions League. Every youth of this country is watching the European Champions League. Why are we depriving the sports sector of this possible revenue stream? The World Cup, we were all in Qatar. Budweiser was the sponsor.
All the adverts were consumed by all of us here in Ghana. So again, I'm coming back to my initial position. How do we see football, and how do we want to position football? People use Morocco as a case study, and I'm saying it's wrong for Ghana, because the entire governance infrastructure in Morocco is football. The man in charge of the checks in football is my colleague, he's the president of the federation. He's the head of the football, he's the head of budgets and finance in Morocco, and he's my colleague. Everything in Morocco is football. The Atenkas Center is not sponsored by the FA of Morocco, by the king, the government.
Okay.
So please,
use the word government.
It's very important for us to see football the way we love football. Ghanaians love football. Everybody, 30 million plus, love football. And we need to see football and pay attention to football. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
It's also important for us to really position how we see our investment in football. Do we see our investment in football as a social investment or as a commercial investment? A lot of our peers, a lot of the MAs, a lot of the government sees their investment in sports and in football as a social investment. This is a lot for us to think about.
Very well. The
referees or Referees Association of Ghana.
Referees Association of Ghana.
Oh, they are the welfare body of referees.
Yes, the welfare, yes.
They acknowledge that they are welfare.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So
But I hope they know their role properly. Because I've read some bits and pieces on the social media space, and I was like, did they really say this here? You know, I was quite surprised.
Which one in particular?
About appointments and trainings and their position. So the RAG is a welfare body, just like the Ghana League Clubs Association. It must be clear. The League Clubs Association, GALCA, is a welfare body for our clubs. And they take care of the welfare issues of our clubs. The RAG is a welfare body of referees in Ghana. In the time past, they used to pick up roles that were supposed to be performed by the FA. Since 2019, referring to the provisions in the FIFA statutes, we took up that responsibility of owning referees and training referees. This is a clear distinction. That's all.
Chairman, I think it's quite late, so I wouldn't want to drag things.
No, we love this platform, so let's go on.
I actually was quite interested.
So if you don't have passion, and if you don't have extreme passion, you cannot be in football. 99% of the people in football are driven by passion, especially owners of our clubs. It's as simple as that. You can make a private survey with owners of football clubs, and they'll tell you they are driven by passion. You can ask me the question here, because I'm here, I'm a club owner. I am driven by passion. Thank you.
And when you sell your players, right, there's something eventually.
Once in a while, you sell.
There's always something. So just to close on my questions, what are the biggest challenges you are facing now outside of financial? I think you've already spoken quite well about the challenges you have on the financial side, but what do you think is the biggest bottlenecks that, if we are able to take those out of your way, you believe that, you know, Ghana football will begin to see the brightest future that we all desire to see?
Much honorable. Even though you mentioned that I've already spoken about financials, football is
capital intensive. It's heavily capital intensive. Today, we are talking about football pitches. We are talking about clearing of items at the port to be used by our national teams.
May I ask if you've ever attempted to request for tax exemptions for...
Oh my God.
You have?
Numerous.
Okay.
Even currently, Honorable, some of you were invited to our last Congress where I spoke about the buses we have imported for our clubs. They are the port. No exemptions. Well, sorry? Sorry? We will... He said AstroTurf.
Let me. Order, please, let's quickly. No.
Chairman, Ranking made a comment.
Being paid by our clubs. This entertainment tax equivalent or whatever it is has to be looked at. How do we encourage the private sector to be more interested in football? How do we make tax incentives readily available for them? This limits on FDA, or this FDA provision on alcoholic beverage companies sponsoring sports or football must be looked at immediately. For me, it doesn't add up at all. So at the end, we are blessed with the human capital. We don't have the cash resources to implement the ideas that we have. And for how we see Ghana.
So, Mr. President, you will realize that you are acknowledging some challenges, financial challenges, and all that, including the need for us, probably the committee, to speak for you with regards to all such waivers, because definitely we all believe that it must be done. There must be a window of opportunity for you to be able to clear your items anytime they come to the port, particularly when they belong to the national team, and so on and so forth. And the taxes on the buses, for instance, we do not see why you should be struggling when there's a statement in manifestos that government will be supporting sports, the development of sports. I thought this is a low-hanging fruit for somebody to begin now, get you all the waivers so that you can clear the vehicles. So you realize that all of these matters that we think adds up to the reason why you are here. And so this platform, you should even praise Save Ghana Football and all the others who put together the petitions to Mr. Speaker, for which reason we are gathered here. I think you should be happy within that we are talking this way. But I have few questions, a few questions. Now, can you tell me the policies, have they ever discussed with the FA? Can you share that?
Regulation on sports, deriving from the Sports Act. We were sent a copy.
That is the regulation, LI.
Yes. A meeting was held.
We are talking about policy, intentions.
None so far.
Nothing. Okay. What's your position on these AstroTurfs, so-called 100 and something that they have built across the country? What's your position on that? What's your position on these AstroTurfs that have been built across the whole country?
Mr. Chairman.
Oh,
Why, Mr. President? I want to know your position on all of this. Why you've shifted to Randy? Randy Bill. Okay, Randy, come in.
Mr. Chairman, any initiative that will provide playing surfaces for people, especially the young people of this country, is laudable. And so anytime you see an initiative that will provide better playing facilities, because that's the fundamental thing that especially children need to develop their talents. And so any initiative in that regard is good. However, I think that over the last 5 years or so, we have at every opportunity in having discussions with some of our friends who are either with government or the organizations that are involved in these pitches, have said that it would help.
In this case, I'm zeroing it on government approaching you or telling you their intentions and all whether you have participated in such discussions.
No, nobody.
Out of which we have all these astroturfs so-called across the country.
Those are not things.
And
that
so then this leads to the next question: whether those astroturfs meet CAF's standard.
No, so that's what I was explaining. That you see, when they are playing surfaces around the country, it's good. Kids will get the opportunity of honing their talent and all that. But we've made it clear over the last 5 years to many of our friends who are in decision-making areas that it will help. For example, if they collaborated with, say, the FA. Because sometimes you see some of those facilities very well done, beautiful, but the playing surface, the dimension, you would realize that for some of them it's just off by 9 feet. You know, the dimensions are not done properly. There has to be a distance between, let's say, what you see as the white line and where the benches and the fencing. All those are
so
technical.
In effect, they are not up to standard.
Those are all technical dimensions. And if you look at the size of the places, with a little consultation, we could have assisted in helping with these dimensions so that these fields will not just be for recreational purposes, but can also be used for competitive football. That's the downside.
So on your own, as the FA, have you taken the trouble to do some work in terms of as little auditing of those places and writing something on it to the Ministry of Youth and Sports?
We have out of our own volition, provided these dimensions. We have even published them. We've provided them to some of the people who are involved in this thing, what these dimensions are, the minimum, the maximum, to guide people in constructing some of these surfaces. Let's make it clear. For some of them, it is not for purposes of competitive football. They are maybe community-based for recreational purposes, which can serve non-competitive football as well as other purposes. But I'm saying that there are many of them who, if they had consulted, we could have had surfaces or facilities that would be used for competitive football. So in some of the cases, the FA has had to bend the rules to allow for some competitive football to be played. I can use 2 pitches as an example. If you take the Magdan one at La, we're allowing women's football to be played there. It does not meet the requirement. But we also have a problem with playing surfaces. So we allow that. We allow the Medina to be used. That also there were issues. In fact, even the day of the inauguration was when we pointed out a lot of these issues to the then minister and other government officials who were there. We had to also bend the rules for, was it the Wali Wali one? Wali Wali. That was where the 9 feet thing. We had to also bend the rules so that they can play some games there, because in that part, you do not have a lot of these facilities. So if these consultations have been made, would have been able to, in spending the money in doing these facilities, done things that will serve both our competitive purposes and recreational purposes.
I want
Chairman,
to
let me
ask
use
you.
Do with all surfaces. That's why I said that sometimes, if the right consultation is done, we will all be able to help, to assist, to say that, look, even the natural pitches, there are some that are not done properly. The kind of seeds that are used, what is used in doing it and all that.
Afraid that will not affect somebody's being taken out of
It does.
football permanently in the course of.
It does, Mr. Chairman. You see, we need to have a right combination of whether it is hybrid, which is astro and natural. It is astro. It is natural. We must have a healthy combination of all of this. We just need to be talking so that we can then realize that, look, maybe for these places, let's do this. Let's do a hybrid. Let's do this. We just need to be talking. Sometimes when something is in vogue, we end up overdoing it. But, I mean, with all these things, if you go to Europe today, there are still astroturfs there. There are some new ones that have been constructed. They are doing a hybrid. They are doing natural grass. So we just need to have a combination. The FA itself has just constructed an astro facility in Boga.
Yeah.
Yes. But you would see that maybe the base, and this is something that was done by FIFA, the tender and everything was led by FIFA. The whole project was FIFA. So you would realize that even the base and all those things, it's up to a certain specification.
Absolutely.
If you don't get that right, so sometimes it is not the concept of astro.
It's because I was involved in building that of Red Bull in Fievie in Sogarope, because the guys came from Austria.
Right.
And to get that done. I was fully involved in it.
Right.
No.
I don't know what you're speaking about, but for example, with our academy,
No, school sports, where a school is identified in each district and supported to develop these facilities, so that so that hasn't been done very well. After the AFCON in Cote d'Ivoire, the technical report, we will need it. And then also, we will be interested in having some information on your need assessments, how to improve football in totality, what are really the challenges, what, you've spoken about a few, the tax issue, the issue with regards to the waivers, and then also you've spoken about quite a number of them. So we would want you to put them on paper and let us have all of that. Is there anything else? I don't think so. Do you have any collaboration between you and Ghana Education Service you want to share with us?
Relationship with them. The academy that we've done in Upper East, in fact, we do it with them. In terms of the placement, all the players are coming from the junior secondary school when they qualify to the senior secondary school. So we work hand in hand with them, and we are working to establish the middle belt, which is in Ashanti region, and then we'll do the Greater Accra for the southern belt. The plan is that eventually we'll have one in each football region. Now, we also do the CAF inter-schools sports. Last year, we were in Togo, where we came second and third. Second for the girls, and then third for the boys. That's under 15, so up to the junior secondary school level. So we do that with the Ghana Education Service. Indeed, we also supported them with football for schools that we sourced from FIFA. Even though it's sad to know that once again, even though we imported the football to help government schools, we had to pay to clear them at the port. But we continue to work with them to ensure that we provide football and other competitions for the school sports.
Is there anything, Mr. President?
Actually, the whole philosophy is based on these principles: possessing to attack and defend using the principles of play and based upon the moment of the game. And we in Ghana, we added the agro style of play. Because as Ghanaians, sometimes even you can win massively, but we still don't see our style of play in terms of possession and teasing players around and all those. And when those things happen, we are not very happy or satisfied. So we have put this DNA together using ideas or suggestions or feedback from experts, which includes past players, past administrators, past coaches, and people who love football, journalists, and all those things. And then when we came out with it, we have training modules, or what we call game or play patterns, whereby we shall take our players through and the coaches through in order to be able to identify ourselves and distinguish ourselves from the other nations that are around us. So in a nutshell, that is what our DNA is. Possession to attack, possession to defend, using the principles of play and moments of the game. Thank you.
In fact, the reason why I ask is that quite a number of us are yet to come to terms with the content of the document that was launched. And there will be the need for you to furnish us with the details so we can appreciate that whole document. And from a technical point of view, the impact it will make if it is implemented well. You know, if you can, do you foresee maybe in the few years to come, 2, 3, 4 years from now, what do you think?
And that's what you started. Our coaches are being trained with it, especially starting from the license D, which is the fundamentals for the coaches. So once these coaches go through it and they deliver it on the page with the players, which is from ages 6 to 15, certainly you see the impact. And I hope that within the next 4 years to come, you shall see the impact it's making. As I speak today, if you go and watch our Division 3 and our juvenile clubs, I mean, the style of play, everything has changed, and it's moving in the direction of our DNA.
Black Star.
The Black Stars. Okay. Okay. We'll provide same.
So all of this is just to make sure we know your financial challenges and why we think government should be out there to support. We think government can play a role, and government must be seen playing a role. You just mentioned that in Ethiopia and a few other countries, to an extent, they get grants. And I want to go into that. What kind of grant is that? Is that private or government grant? Or yes. And so
That's
maybe
why I spoke about.
if you have some few papers to share with us, we'll be interested in sharing those papers with us.
That's why, Honorable, I spoke about how we see government investment in football. Is it part of our social strategy or a commercial strategy? That clearly defines how.
You must suggest which one should it be. Should it be
a social strategy?
It should be social.
It's a social strategy. Yes. It's a social strategy everywhere.
Okay.
Everywhere.
Very well. Yes. Okay. So, sorry for what happened this morning. I mean, some of us came on time, but obviously others were traveling down from their constituencies, which of course we needed to give them time to arrive safely for us to be able to engage. But then it also coincided with when you were also scheduled to have some very equally important meeting in your office. And so you had to leave. At least for having a very beautiful appreciation of and understanding then, you decided to come again for us to do this very important assignment. So I say thank you to you for everything and all the troubles you have gone through. Mr. President, you want to say, you want me to give you a last bite?
Yes. I'll say three things. First of all, as part of the document that you will be receiving, we'll be asking for a clear policy of government support for clubs who represent Ghana on the African continent. At the moment, we do have some amount of support. The best case scenario will be to have a clear policy direction on same. The next one is to inform this August House that Ghana will be at the Beach Soccer AFCON from the 17th of October.
Okay.
We qualified for the Beach Soccer AFCON in Egypt.
Okay.
So we will be at the AFCON.
Very well.
After reviving futsal, we participated in the futsal AFCON in Morocco. This is also a big step for consumers of futsal football. The Beach Soccer Premier League is on. In your region, it is very active.
I thought you were going to congratulate me. I'll leave a little support.
I've not landed.
Okay, sir.
Beach soccer is on the rise in this country. And Mr. Chairman, I want to thank you for your particular interest and for turning up at our events and actively participating in our events. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
So Beach Soccer Premier League is on and is being enjoyed by people who love beach soccer. Futsal Premier League has been introduced by the FA, and people are enjoying our Futsal Premier League. We also have, Mr. Chairman, our e-football national team. It is the new way for the youth. So when we speak about 20 national teams, at least you now have a clear picture that every facet of our youth who are interested in one form of football or the other is being taken care of. And this is something that has to be brought to the notice of the House. Now, finally, on behalf of the Vice President, who is seated next to me, the ESCO, who have worked extremely beyond their limits over these challenging years, the entire staff of the FA, who have worked overnight to revive the Ghanaian game, our staff in all the 10 regions, the entire football family, we want to thank you. Thank this August committee for this amazing platform for us to share and to talk about the Ghanaian game. We say we are Ghana, and we have to behave as Ghanaians when it comes to football. Thank you.
Now, before we bring finally, are we going to have...
Mr. Chairman, we are waiting for...
What's the position of CAF?
We're waiting for CAF.
You are waiting for CAF?
Yes.
Does it look good?
We've done the hard work.
Okay.
We are waiting for CAF.
Very well. And have you visited the pitches that are being talked about yourself or your technical people? Have they gone there to see them yourself?
The experts within us have been there.
And they think it's okay?
And I would say that I will not comment on their report to me. I'll wait for CAF to speak.
Well, that's fine. I thought I would want to. But don't forget, I mean, just to let you know that I have some love letter here for you from the Referee Association. I mean, you owe them plenty money.
Yeah.
So I will talk to you so that at least you can be forthcoming with their payments, which is a major challenge to them. Mr. President.
Yes, we don't dispute. We came to meet judgment debts as an FA, and we're step by step. We're trying to make life better for everybody. In the same vein, we also expect those companies who owe us also to make do with the payments, and then we can settle ourselves. So we belong to the same family, and I think that we work closely together. We would.
Very well.
Thank you.
Ah.